Well, hello everyone. I'm Bonnie Low-Kramen, and I'm coming to you live from my home office studio in Ponte Vedra, Florida. And I am here with
Hi, Bon. Jen Wilner, coming to you live from a now sunny Edison, New Jersey. Dawn.
Very good. Well, thank you for coming with me to Tuesday, and thanks to everyone on the call who went with the flow and came with us to our Tuesday event today. I just want you to know that from the next weeks forward, we should be back to Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. But there is a very particular reason why we switched to Tuesday this week. And I want to let you in on why that was, because I think there's lots of lessons here that we're all seeming to learn so many lessons since March, since the pandemic. We're all going to remember 2020. Hello, Denise Buckelman. Hello, Helen. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us on Tuesday this week. I was just about to say why we're on Tuesday is that Robert and I leave for a break for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're leaving. We are driving. We're not flying. We're driving to a beautiful place on the panhandle of Florida to take 5 delicious nights away to relax and to kind of get some distance from what has been these last few months. Hey, Beth, welcome from Frederick, Maryland. We, boy, oh boy, I know I'm not alone when I say these last few months have really been challenging, and have really tested us in new ways. So I've begun thinking a lot more about 2021 and about, what is it that I want to do? And oh my goodness, Vicky Evans has joined us on this call. Vic, so Vicky wants to hear about all these plans for 2021. I know you're thinking about them. Debbie Bridge, welcome. So happy to have all of you here. So, I'm looking ahead at 2021 and, knowing we've got 2.5 months left in this year. So I want to take some time and think about that. One of the like very basic things is, I want to schedule, to get a shingles shot and a flu shot and those of you who, do it or not do it, it's a conscious decision. Jen, what's an example of something you're looking forward to? What are you thinking about?
I'm not seeing so far into 2021, but I am so looking forward to my college child come home for Thanksgiving. That's all I need, one holiday at a time.
Oh my gosh. And you let her go back to school, right?
We'll see.
And you're also having something this week, right?
Getting a haircut.
The little things in life, right? The little things in life. So I want to open it up on the chat. Like, what are you thinking about as you're going to go back to the office? Are you not? Are we thinking about the holidays? And that's going to be so different this year. Are we traveling at all? Are we flying? Are we driving? Welcome to Susan Erickson and Misty and Jessica. Hey, you followed us to Tuesday. Thank you so much. So let's hear from you to hear about the things that you're, anticipating into 2021. Another one is, oh my gosh, now that I'm not traveling, I'm decluttering like crazy. I know Robert is so thrilled at this. I'm throwing away just tons of paper and reorganizing. As assistants, I consider myself pretty darn organized, but I really want to be able to refocus and put, the new things that, close to me. So what does Vicky have to say about what's going on? Jen?
Vicky is making lunch for her boys. Hi, boys. Need to get my flu shot and shingle shot too. Was just thinking this morning. Yep.
Yeah. Beth is not going back. Review after the holidays. I know there's a lot more questions than answers, aren't there? So what about Helen? What is Helen saying?
Should like take an opportunity to shift or enhance my career. Need general advice for seeking work in operations or tech when moving from an EA role.
Oh,
There's something for Vicky.
mentorship for sure. To get advice from somebody who's succeeding at it, to understand the kind of new training that you need. To get advice from somebody who's actually been there. That's been one of my lessons from these months, is to go to the experts. I'm working on a new book, and yesterday I just decided to, ask an expert, somebody who's published 6 books, and he gave me some great advice. What's Marion saying?
Don't think that 2021 will immediately be different than 2020 ends, but I hope it'll start to get better. Yes, we do.
Gosh, yeah. 20. We're all going to remember what 2020 was like. That is reorganizing. How about Angela? What's Angela sharing?
Angela's 12 hours a day on job searching, calling recruiters, plan to start going through clothes, clutter, etc. Yeah.
It feels so good to be able to understand where everything is, so you're ready. And I don't know, I'm on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm still at about a 5, but it's beginning to feel like I can breathe a little better, understanding where things are. And that feels really important. At least it's an emotional relief.
Yeah, definitely.
Vicky's absolutely saying get certified in Microsoft Office. There's been a lot of conversation lately about how that is becoming even more. It was important prior to the pandemic, for sure. I know you know that. I mean, you believe that, Vic. But now in the pandemic, it is a way that assistants are really differentiating themselves from other people. Moss certified. Yeah, Stephanie. Go Stephanie as BTUA or Jessica. Oh, how do you decide if ASAP or PACE is best for me? Does anyone want to weigh in on that? I honestly, part of me feels like it is subjective about who's looking at your resume. Do they understand what those certifications are, or do they not? Sometimes it requires us educating them. Hey, we've got an attendee from South Africa. We love having attendees from all over the world. We're talking about 2021 and looking into the future. Robert and I are leaving for 5 nights away, leaving tomorrow, which is why we put heads together today on Tuesday. I urge us all to try to take mini breaks, even if you can't do anything big, to really take some time to think and to dream and to do what feeds your soul. Our colleague Vicky, of course, Vicky's our colleague. I was thinking about Libby Moore had a great quote on our webinar. She said that nature is the new corner office. Here's the new corner office. Jen, you made the point earlier before we went on the air that unless there's a blizzard or something preventing you from going outside, we should all get some air and get a chance to take a look around and just enjoy nature, given that we still have to socially distance, we still have to wear masks. We've got quite a situation, of course.
And we're sitting so much more now and working that it's so important to
right. And we're not even commuting.
Exercise. Yeah.
You're commuting from upstairs to downstairs.
Yeah.
So let's see what Susan has to say.
Okay. Trying to figure out how to anticipate environmental changes and how to help clients differently and anticipate how to meet their changes in the changing environment.
Yeah. Making the point that it's not one size fits all anymore. There are new rules, and it depends on what city you're in. Are you in a city? Are you in the suburbs? Are people going back in a hybrid kind of way? In a sense, it's rather freeing for assistants whose specialty is to pivot. Your specialty is to think through the plan B, the plan C, the plan D, like if this, then that. And so I think, Susan, it kind of plays straight into your skills to be able to like go with it. I'm like, okay, all right, what do they have for me today? What's the scoop today? And we know that this virus is going to be with us for a while. There's another great quote, how, we need to learn how to work in the rain. Like, it's raining, whether it's sunny outside or not, it's raining in the world, and we've got challenges to face. So it's a really interesting time. Lynn has a comment about the PACE certification.
Yeah, Lynn, once you get PACE, Moss is the next step and helps with the motivation.
Very cool.
Good to know.
Honestly, I think it's accurate that whatever certification speaks to you, that whether it's CAPOM, Moss certification, PACE, ASAP, they're all really valuable if you want to go back to school to get your undergrad degree. Whatever it is that is really interesting to you, because if it's interesting, then you'll be very motivated to do it well and to not feel like it's such a drag. I really believe that this education, the training, whether, I hope part of it will be the ultimate assistant, whether virtual or on demand, whatever it is, it should be because you're truly interested in it, not only because it's going to equal more money. The money will come if you are bringing value to the table. Lots and lots of comments.
Yeah.
Stephanie saying her granddaughter dragged her to the park today.
Lovely.
Good for your granddaughter. Good.
Yvonne's talking about burnout, which is exactly why Bonnie's talking about taking that break.
Yeah. If it's at all possible, maybe, here's the thing, most people are working from home, and it's rather impossible to put the boundary up between work and home. We're sleeping at work, we're working at home, it's all together. So it's going to require an overt decision. I saw a break in my calendar and I thought, you know what? I got to get out of here. I live in a beautiful place in Florida, but I just felt the emotional need to get a change of scenery. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to physically go somewhere else, but it would be valuable to carve out some space for yourself, some me time, whether that's a spa treatment. These things don't have to be super expensive or anything, just a nice meal that you do as a takeout, something that really is for you. This trip away is definitely for my brain. Robert doesn't need it as much as I do, but
you're going to come back with all these ideas, knowing you.
Well, I feel like I've been running a race since March, since this all hit. I was in Toronto teaching on March 11th and 12th, and then bam, life came to a crashing halt. What is Angela sharing, Jen?
Angela's asking, is it better to take a contract role that might not convert to full-time, or continue to seek full-time roles while still using unemployment insurance?
Angela, I think that is what, Jen?
I said hive mind question.
Yeah, I think it's very subjective to you and your financial situation and how you're handling this mentally, how you can balance everything, the other things that are happening in your life. I would urge you to seek mentorship from people in your orbit as you look. One of our BTUA students, she was unemployed for 6 months, and her intention every single day was to do a couple of hours on her job search, but also to do one fun thing / learning thing a day. That, in the pandemic, we know that there are all these virtual tours of museums. She is in New York City, so this was pre-pandemic. She went and took advantage of lectures at the library and Broadway shows, discounted tickets, that kind of thing. But online, there is such a plethora of opportunity to learn every single day, whether it's technology, it can be a virtual tour of a museum. They're doing lectures. There's so much available. My goodness, they're doing exercise classes online. They're doing therapy online.
Yeah.
We know that during Heads Together, we had a psychologist a few weeks ago, and the mental health concerns cannot be understated in this situation. I hear what you're saying about burnout, and burnout can lead to even more serious problems if we don't pay attention to the fact that a lot of assistants out there, a lot of people out there are suffering from a sense of isolation and loneliness, sheer loneliness, and loneliness can lead to more serious problems. We need, hopefully, as a community, to figure it out, to get people together. Now might be, and we want to hear, Ike Saunders is on this call. Vicky's here too. It's a party. It's an international party. Let's see what Ike has to say, but I just want to share this idea that when this pandemic hit, many of you know that Vicky Evans and I, just our instinct was to gather in these webinars that we did, and then it just, kept going from there. That's what, brought us to Heads Together, this idea of weekly to bring people together as effectively as we can without being physically in a room together. So look at this, we've got people from all over the world on this call. One thing that I'm planning for 2021 are more groups like this. And in fact, one of them I'm calling a Ultimate Access Mastermind, a mastermind group. And so you'll be hearing more about that. But I want to keep doing more of this. This is, if we're going to keep sane, if we're going to make the changes in the workplace that need to be changed, we need to do more of this. So what does Ike have to say, Jen?
Ike has to say, okay, so I think he had another comment first. I may be wrong. There's always a networking opportunity you can gain from taking a temporary job, if that's an option. Also, some states allow you to continue collecting partial unemployment depending on how much income you're getting.
Got it. So it's important to check with your state rules. So contact your accountant, contact your bookkeeper if you have one. If you don't have either of those people, use your mentors in this networking group. Absolutely. In your city. That's the very best thing. Angela has a very nice comment to share. Down at the bottom.
There we go. Yep. Your webinars have truly been insightful, as have been the comments and suggestions that come in the chat.
Yay. Angela, that's the point. We want that to be the case. That's the purpose of Heads Together. That Jen and I have been together for 7 years, and my goodness, I know that the work I do couldn't happen without her, and without her work, and without the work of Robert and Vicky, and it takes a village. My gosh, so why else are we all here if not to help each other? This work is tough enough as assistants. It was always the case when I was with Olympia Dukakis, but it is more the case even now with such a complicated workplace. We need each other. We really, really need each other in order to leverage our subject matter expertise, because each of you are amazing. You each have a lot of things to bring. Yes, Marion.
Yay.
Why am I not surprised?
Not at all.
Marion, I knew you'd be the first to sign up. We PTO building up. Marie Hansen is saying yeah, you need to take a break too. Marie, do that. That's it. That's what I'm hearing is that, the boundaries are hard to create when you're working at home. And we have a lot of assistants who have PTO, paid time off, built up, but for some reason you're choosing either not to take it, you're deferring it. If you feel the need, like that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it today, is, here we are in October and we've been dealing with this situation since March. Chances are you, like me, have been like running and on red alert and just doing whatever it takes. It's completely legitimate for you to go to your leaders and your peers and your team and just say, I need some R&R and I'm taking it for 3 days, 4 days, whatever it's going to be. And even if you just clean your closets, organize them, don't get out of your pajamas for the whole day, whatever it is, open to whatever comments you have.
Yeah. And Marie is talking about how her boss's vacation time is not coinciding with the timing that she'd like to take off. So it's one of those conversations.
Absolutely. And Marie, thank you for sharing that. It's a nice thing when the executive's vacation can coincide with yours, but what if it doesn't? Doesn't that speak to the notion that we as assistants need to create better backup systems for ourselves? Vicky and I know the assistants to Oprah Winfrey and Bill Gates, and if those people can do it with their teams, they've got very busy teams. When they're working, and when they're off, they're off. I can promise you that as busy as HR is right now, they're not thinking about backup systems for you, nor are your leaders. And I've always thought that CEOs' offices that only have one EA in them, it feels like that is a single point of failure, that is making a company particularly vulnerable. I believe, and what I see all over in the 14 countries and 38 states where I've been, is that we as a community could do a whole lot better creating backup systems for ourselves. So Marie and Nancy, that when you need to take a break, that you actually get to call that shot. As the CEO of you get to say, I need a break. I need 3 days, 4 days. And Lynn will be covering me. And because the system has been built so that there's been crossover, there's been cross training, that becomes possible. This shouldn't be like this dream fantasy. This should be reality.
Exactly. So maybe an idea, Marie, Nancy, with this conversation, get your brains together, put your heads together and figure out a way to help each other. You could be at completely different companies, completely different states.
Yeah.
But you could help each other put together your backup plan.
Love that, Jen. So this is about connecting on LinkedIn. And that is my goal always, is that each of us individually is amazing. Together, we're unbeatable. There's so much power and influence. Yay, Julia Schmidt is coming from us from Norway. I think Norway, yay. Julia wants to be a part of it. Of course you do. Of course you do, Julia. And well, you will be. We have serious work to do in this workplace. There's a lot of things that are broken, and the assistants of the world are stepping up in a big way to influence and to make things better in our workplace. Let's see what you got. What do we have here?
So Helen commented about we need more networking and mentorships. I find most corporations don't have a career track or proper guidance, critique for an EA. We have to navigate on our own.
And Helen, that is the reality right now. I don't disagree. And I believe that we need to take proactive actions and plans to change it. It's going to require collaboration with our colleagues. I can tell you something that's really exciting. In the last couple of weeks alone, I've had conversations with high-level EAs at their particular companies to talk about this, that what the pandemic has done is it's shown a light on the gaps in the workplace. And one of those gaps that's glaring at this point is, Helen, what you just said, the lack of a career path for assistants. It's on the minds of Lucy Brazier and the folks at the World Administrators Summit. Apparently, there's going to be a big report coming out in January about putting a structure to the path of an administrative professional from entry level on up to the C-suite. It shouldn't be haphazard and arbitrary any longer. It needs to be a plan. I mean, what a concept, right? It's 2020, for goodness sakes. Helen, I'm and everyone, I'm very optimistic about what I'm hearing and seeing. There's a lot of conversation about putting structure to the staff, and you could begin with your own team by putting some ideas together on that career path. We need to fix titles, job descriptions, and certainly compensation, which was the subject of that article that I co-wrote for Executive Secretary Magazine, which is still online, called How is HR Really Deciding How Much to Pay You? We have a lot to fix. What else do we have, Jen? And Helen, I agree with you. We need more mentoring and networking groups. We have the networking. We still haven't put real structure to mentoring opportunities. You know, there's this notion that we have to mentor other people in everything, and that's not realistic or reasonable. We can mentor each other in our SME, in our subject matter expertise. And we need to allow ourselves to be vulnerable enough to share openly about what is it that we need help with. And so, you know, I know, Angela, you admitted you're looking for new work. We as a community could solve unemployment. We need to just put our minds and reveal to each other, I do it on LinkedIn, about who's hiring and how can we help those who need new work. Yep, because we never know whose turn is it going to be next.
No, absolutely.
Hey, welcome, Elizabeth. Good to see you.
Yay.
And Nancy, Helen has something else to say.
I'm glad to say I've led the career track for admins at the
corporations where
I work, but not everyone has the same opportunity. We used to have the EA org bell, but all is pretty quiet now.
Yeah, you know what I see? Here's the reality, and this is hard-earned experience talking. I was speaking with one EA who shared, this is gold, this advice. She was saying how a career progression was put into place at her company, at a very well-known company that you would know. It all fell apart. Why? Because the structure was hinging on the efforts of two EAs, just two, who created it and put it into motion in collaboration with two human resources professionals, and they had one executive sponsor. And it all fell apart. Why? When one of the HR people quit, moved on to a new job. Structures like we're talking about need strong support, organic support by many people. This needs, and of course it's messy. You know, the more people you have involved in the creation of something like this, it's pretty messy and everybody's got opinions. That's okay. In my view, that's the price we have to pay for building something really strong. Something really strong at a huge company is not going to survive with only two people at the helm.
Certainly not.
As EAs and HR. Doesn't this make sense? And then when that executive sponsor, he also moved on, the whole thing it crumbled. There was no chance that it was going to survive because there wasn't even an executive sponsor. So the message, of course, is we need 5 executive sponsors. We need whole teams of assistants from different departments weighing in on what this thing could be. I hope that makes sense. It certainly made sense to me. I mean, it was heartbreaking to think about a system that took, in that case I was just telling you about, apparently the EA told me it took 2 years to create this thing, only to have it fall apart. I would cry. Like I honestly, isn't that heartbreaking?
That is heartbreaking.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. But we as assistants, we think, well, we have, I have to do it myself or it won't get done. Well, that's not the way structures of teams are going to be solidified. And, the other trend I'm beginning to hear rumblings of is the need for a new person, a new executive out of HR or learning and development, a team leader, an administrative director over all the administrative staff to help put structure to what we're talking about. And then that person needs a lot of support.
Yeah. Elizabeth is saying organic support doesn't cement succession planning nor future leaders. I'm not sure what
it doesn't. I think, Elizabeth, if you can expand on that some, I think what you're referring to is that there need to be policies and procedures and actual documentation that is put on the website. I think companies could do a whole lot better articulating what this is, that the administrative staffs all over the world are talking about this right now. I was going to say complaining. On one level, it is complaining, but it's raising the issue. This is not frivolous complaining at all. This is legit. And 2020, I think we have an opportunity. I think we have an opportunity right now. This is a moment that we could solve this. Elizabeth, do you have, if you have, yes, structure. You're talking about structure, right?
We crave structure.
And Elizabeth, if you have one, because I know you are a seasoned assistant, I want to know what your ideas are. Like, none of us have to reinvent the wheel. We shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel anymore, even though in many companies, this is a new idea to put structure to the administrative staff. We need to benefit from those in the community who have done it. I know out of Boston, Lynn Walder and Jillian Hufnagel have worked on their ideas on this subject, and they very happily share the information. So if you go on LinkedIn, if this is really exciting to you, I know that this is the future. I just think we're probably 3 to 5 years away from having it be a new norm. It's exciting.
So before we wrap up, Helen is saying, I think sometimes our execs get so comfortable working with us, they don't want to support a career path for fear of discomfort with the possibility of working with someone new. I feel that's often the reason we don't see succession plans for us, but I love the idea of putting our heads together to support change.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me, okay. So Elizabeth is saying, and I want to follow up on that idea from what Helen just said. It's transformed over time and now includes a teams group. Okay. So 9 years ago, Elizabeth, if there's anything not proprietary that you could share, I say, let's share this kind of thing on LinkedIn, and I'll certainly share it. I'm going on the record right now. This whole notion of succession planning, I've talked about it before. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave your executive. What it does mean, though, is that an executive assistant should have a way to increase your salary, his or her salary, even if you stay with the same executive. Succession planning is absolutely vital right now because we have a lot of baby boomers who are going to be retiring very soon. So we have to prepare for all that institutional knowledge to be marching out the door. Plus, we have this thing called COVID. At any moment, any one person could be plucked out because of their own illness or because of a loved one's illness and they have to stay home to take care of them, whatever, the question becomes, and you don't have to tell me, you just have to think to yourself, is your company ready for that? If any one of you got suddenly, like tomorrow, taken out temporarily, what would happen to your department? What would happen? I mean, you want to cause chaos? That's potentially a very chaotic situation that HR is not thinking about. Leaders aren't thinking about it. We need to think about it. And if you do, that's increasing your relevance. In our training and Be the Ultimate Assistant, both virtual and on demand, I talk about the gaps. There are so many gaps in the workplace that you as EAs can fill. And in doing so, get promoted with a new title and new responsibilities. If you enjoy leading other people, that's a way to expand your role. Another gap is the onboarding plan. Another gap is the disaster plan. There's so much room. There's so much runway that we're seeing and hearing from assistants all over the world that, on one level, it's a pretty exciting time, because what we know is that times of change are times of opportunity.
Absolutely.
So speaking of opportunity, the on-demand class that Vicky and I went into the studio and we put Be the Ultimate Assistant on video, and many of you on this call have taken it, and we're so grateful. And thanks again for following us to Tuesday this week. We'll be back on Wednesday next week. But we are offering a promo code for the on-demand class, which is the same material that we teach live. The promo code, Jen, if you could put it in the chat, is BTUAOD 250 to save $250 off the training. All of the resources that we have, the on-demand class, the virtual class, the blog, the podcast, are all designed to empower you, to encourage the belief that you are the CEO of You Incorporated, to take charge of this thing called your career, your life. As Olympia Dukakis used to say, this is not a rehearsal. This is not a rehearsal. We know that life is short, can be short. We're going to sign off. Oh, I told you about the mastermind, and I know it's so exciting that some of you already know you want to go to be there. I want you to wear your masks. I want you to stay healthy. This is mine. I think we need transparent masks so that we can talk to each other and communicate well.
Emotions.
We need to stay safe, because if we can stay safe and healthy, we can solve all these problems in the workplace. They need us to. That's the secret. They need us to do it. So thank you. Angela's like, and Olympia meant business. Angela, I know you met her. She does. And she still does. She's 89 years old. She absolutely means business. So Jennifer Wilner, thank you so much for today. Time flew, huh?
It was my pleasure. Yeah, today flew on by. So everybody continue the conversations, in these strings while they're on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can continue the conversations, reach out to each other so we can all continue to keep our heads together.
What she said. Yeah. What she said. Good job. Give her a high five. There you go.
Caffeine just kicked in.
It is so wonderful to see all of you from all over the world. Please do connect with each other. That, my friends, is our strength. Separately, you are freaking amazing. Together, there's nobody we can't get to. There's nothing we can't do. That's not a pipe dream. That is reality. I'm seeing it all over. And you all are doing big things at your company. I want to help you do it. Bonnie at BonnieLow-Kramen.com. We want to make it better, not only for ourselves, but our kids and our grandkids and the assistants coming up behind us. We need to do this. We have a job to do. And let's keep meeting weekly. Next week, Wednesday, 3:00. Send on your questions if you have any. I am always interested in knowing what you have to say. Each and every one of you, you have a voice with me. Thank you, Jen.
All right. Thank you. See you all next
All
week.
right. Bye now.
Bye.